What's up, gamers? So I wanted for us to continue on today, even though I am not going to be here today. I'm with Miss Mitchell today helping out with some Quiz Bowl stuff. But I really want us to do monohybrid and dihybrid crosses today, so we are going to practice that a little bit in this video. So if you get out your genetics mega packet, I'm going to work the first couple monohybrids and then explain how I like to do the dihybrid crosses. So yeah, I am looking at the monohybrid crosses on our genetics mega packet right now. And it says, in guinea pigs, black hair, capital B, is completely dominant to white hair, lowercase b. Perform the following crosses and report the genotypic and phenotypic frequencies of the F1 generation. So it says I have a homozygous white and a homozygous black. So remember, homozygous means it's going to have the same two alleles. So if I am homozygous white and white is lowercase b, that means that I'm going to be crossing an individual that has this genotype. I'm going to be making it have babies with a homozygous black, which would be that. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this into a Punnett square, so that way I can figure out the percentages of their babies. So I'm going to put one of their pairs of alleles up here, and the others on the side here, and I will bring this one over, and this one over, this one down, this one down. So that I have this, okay? So every time they have babies, this is what they're rolling the dice with. And it just so happens with this particular couple, our genotypic percentage is they're 100%, oops, it's a G, heterozygous. And for our phenotypic percentage, remember we said that capital B was black, I believe, brown, black. And if you have the dominant allele, you show the dominant allele. All four of the babies do, so all of them will be black. And so your answer for this question is that right there, because I want you to report the genotypic and phenotypic frequencies. Okay, so let's look at the next one. The next one says we want a heterozygous black. Heterozygous meaning that your alleles are different. Okay, so we have my heterozygous black, and they are going to have babies with a homozygous black. Okay, so I will bring my big B and my little b down, big B and little b over. My genotypic percentage of the babies, half of them, and I think it's fine to go back and forth between a percentage and a fraction, but half of them are homozygous dominant, the other half are heterozygous, but they still all are black. Because again, if you have that dominant allele, you're doing what that dominant allele says. Okay. So number 3 says that we've got a heterozygous black, and we are going to have babies with a heterozygous black. So I will bring my big B down, my little b down, my big B over, my little b over, to where I have these 4 babies. My genotypic percentage, I have 1 out of the 4 is homozygous dominant, 2 out of the 4, or half, are heterozygous, and then 1 out of the 4 is recessive all the way. As far as phenotypes go, this one, and this one are all black, so 3 out of the 4 are going to be black. That's awful handwriting. And then 1 out of the 4 will be, I believe it is white. White? Did we say white? Sorry. Yeah, white. Okay, so that would be my answer to that question. Okay, so there's a couple different examples of, I think the next chunk is about lethal alleles and things that if you are homozygous recessive, like this gentleman would be, it ends up in you dying. So work a couple of those practice problems. If you're not really feeling comfortable, there's extra ones on Google Classroom for you to work, and I have the answer key up there already for them. But I do want to get into the dihybrid crosses. Now, the issue with dihybrid crosses, the thing that makes them a little more challenging than the monohybrid crosses, which honestly are just extremely easy, is that you have a more complicated set of gametes. Okay, so if we remember back to whenever I was talking about me and my hair color and how I get, like from dad I have black and curly, and from mom I have brown and straight. I can give my baby black curly, black straight, brown curly. Whoa, lost focus there. Focus back in. Anyway, or brown straight. Click it. Yeah. So because I have these 4 different traits, I have a couple of different ways that I can give these to my kid. And again, I can go this combo, this combo, or that combo. So there's a lot of options that, my body has whenever I'm going to make eggs. I don't know why my camera decided all of a sudden to do strange things. Sorry about that. All right. So, the problem with figuring out the alleles and what actually goes in the Punnett square for dihybrid crosses is that you have more combinations now. So let's look at the example for dihybrid cross. The first one, it says in guinea pigs, brown hair is dominant to white and long is dominant to short. Perform the following crosses. Calculate the probability having the desired phenotype. Okay, so we have homozygous white. So I've got a homozygous white, which is going to be that, and long, and it says homozygous long. So homozygous white long, that homozygous applies to both. That is the genotype of my first organism. Okay? Because you can tack on as many traits as you want. You have thousands of traits. So if we wanted to, we could write a complete genotype of you, and it would have thousands of letters that follow it. But we're just sticking to these 2, and we want to know these specific hair color and hair length of these babies. So this is the mom, and the dad is homozygous black short. So homozygous black. And then short is easy because we know that short is the recessive, so short has to be 2 lowercase l's. I'm going to write those in cursive so that we can tell. Okay, so I want to cross this individual with this individual to see what their babies look like. And the problem here is that I have lots of different ways to combine this. So I can have this allele paired with that, this allele paired with that, this one and that, or this one and that. And again, if we remember, it's because these are on chromosomes where like maybe this is the allele B and this is the allele L. Well, this is a bad example because the alleles are all the same, but when they do crossing over, maybe they trade alleles, and so you end up with new and interesting combinations when they do crossing over. So this is really a problem, is figuring out what goes in our Punnett square. So the way that I learned how to do it was you use the FOIL method. So I don't know if you guys were actually ever taught this, but if you remember, if you have like, no, it's got to be a variable. Let me start over. If you have like that, you go first, inside, outside, and then last, and it gives you like 4 plus 2x minus 2x plus x squared. Okay, if you remember that. I learned that in 4th grade. I don't know if they do that anymore. That's what you're going to do here, though. So let me FOIL this for you. So you go first, inside, outside, and last. So those are the alleles, those are the allele combinations that this individual is going to give their child. Okay, so exactly the same with me, with my dad's hair and hair color, or hair texture and hair color, so on and so forth. I use that example a lot in this unit. So the problem is figuring out which gametes it makes, because this individual is going to make 4 sperm with those 4 gametes in it. Okay, so let's actually do this cross and see what that looks like. Now, because there are 4 traits, or excuse me, because there are 4 alleles, just like when we had 1 trait is our 2 by 2, well, we're adding on to it, so we're actually going to be doing a 4 by 4. Okay, so they get exponentially bigger. So I've got this allele combination here, and this allele combination here, and this allele combination, and this allele combination. Okay? And then this one's easy because they're all going to end up being that. So first is this, inside is this, outside is this, last is this. Okay? So that's easy. Oops, ran off the page. Sorry. There we go. So now you just Punnett square it. Okay? Just like you normally would. Sorry, I'm writing a little crooked. So now you just Punnett square it just like you normally would. So we're going to bring down these two. And I'm going to leave a space because I know that there's going to be extra letters in here. And I'll bring down these guys. I'll bring down these guys. And these ones. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm working with right now, is this situation. Now I need to bring over these. So I'll bring over. It doesn't super matter, like this one I've written these two backwards. Typically you do put the dominant trait first, so I would be reading this as brown long. The only thing though is that you do kind of want to keep the letters together, that way it doesn't get very confusing, because it can get bad when it gets big like this, okay? So this individual is going to be brown and long, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these 16, so half will be brown and long, and then this one is white long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other half are white and long. So if these two individuals have a baby, there's a 50% chance that it will be brown with long hair and a 50% chance that it will be white with long hair. All right, so your question asked you calculate the probability that an individual in this generation will have the desired phenotype. So it says that we're crossing, those two parents, and we want to see if they can have a short, black-haired child. Well, this is supposed to be black. My bad, y'all. Oops. Okay, so we can definitely have a black-haired kid, but we do not have the ability for these two individuals to make a short. So there is a 0% chance that they will have a short, black-haired child. Okay? Now the next question asks for long white hair. Well, we know right here that there's a 50% chance that they'll have long white hair. So that is one way to do these questions. It is the long way. It is the technically correct way to independently assort out these alleles, but I find it to be very hard, and I don't like that. So there is another way to do it, equally just as valid, and it is called the rule of multiplication. So I'm going to show you how to do that one real quick. So I have this short, long, and I'm going to have babies, this brown, white, long, good Lord. And I'm going to make them have babies with black, short. Okay? So I can do the rule of multiplication, which is where you basically just divide these traits out into their own Punnett squares and then multiply the two Punnett squares together. So instead of doing a big 4x4, I'm going to do a Punnett square for color and a Punnett square for length real quick. Now let's use this to figure out how many of the babies will have white, long hair. So half of these babies will have white hair, and all of these babies will have long hair, okay? So we are going to use the rule of multiplication. You just multiply these two values, and it will tell you how many of the babies will have both of these traits, which in this case is half. And there's your answer. So either way that you use them is fine. I find this to be much easier.